Hey guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right guys, it's August 12th, Monday, and my birthday. It is 10:49 p.m. so hopefully I'll get this uploaded before midnight, and both videos will say August 12th on them. Anyway, we're just gonna pick right up from where we left off, and we're gonna go on. But I do want to say thank you guys so much. You guys that support me on Patreon and you guys that buy me coffee, I really appreciate it. It makes it, it actually kind of compensates for my time so that I can spend more time digging into stuff. And I do appreciate it more than you realized. Thank you guys also that are using my P.O. box. I got another, I went to my P.O. box again, and I had several other letters and so forth, and I'm going to be, I don't have them right here with me, but I will mention them in the next video. So I got a couple little gifties in there too, so that's always fun. Anyway, let's get going. All right, let me see here. You know, I get a little bit silly at this time of night, so well, again, there you go. Half a cup of this each morning will eat your belly fat like crazy. Well, there you go. Yeah. I'm telling you, they're always giving me weight loss stuff. And I don't know what, you know, is it a hint? Okay, don't play games with me, kid. Biden snaps at young conservative girl at Iowa State Fair, then grabs her arm. What is wrong with this guy? Really? Like, what is wrong with him? What just happened here? I clicked on that stupid weight loss thing. Okay, now they're going to send me more. Okay, let's look at this. 2020 Democrat front runner. He could only be a front runner if everyone was walking in the race because, well, you know, sleepy Joe Biden, creepy Joe Biden. Anyway, front runner, that's hysterical, really. Joe Biden was at the Iowa State Fair on Thursday, and apparently he couldn't handle any questions asked by conservatives. None of them can. Biden snapped at a young conservative girl who simply asked him, how many genders are there? There are at least 3, Biden told the young Iowa college student named Katie. Biden then snapped at the young woman for following up with asking, what are they? Don't play games with me, kid, Biden retorted, but Biden wasn't finished. The former vice president then grabbed Katie's arm and said, oh, by the way, the first one to come out for marriage was me. Katie said that she was very mad that Biden treated her that way. This guy's, you know, a few slices short of a loaf. I'm sorry. I just, the whole Biden subject, just because, I mean, they have so much on this guy. He fondles everyone. My team just forwarded this video to me, this by Charlie Kirk. Watch former Vice President Biden forcefully grab one of our young field staffers at yesterday's Iowa State Fair after she asked him how many genders there are. He never learns, does he? Joe Biden grabs co-ed. Well, let's watch, shall we? Sure we shall.
Good job. Thank you, man. Good to talk. By the way, first one.
My name is Katie. I am born and raised in Iowa, and I am currently a student in Iowa. Today, I showed up at the state fair to ask former Vice President Joe Biden a question about gender. When I asked the question, it took a few seconds for the question to register, and then he responded with, 3. I asked a follow-up question. I asked, okay, what are they? Joe Biden looked at me and said, don't mess with me, kid. I turned to walk away, and then it doesn't stop there. He grabs my arm and pulls me back to make eye contact with him again, and he yells something about marriage at me.
By the way, first one.
So I walked away, and I was mad, just very, very mad that someone would actually treat me like that.
Good job. Thank you, man. By the way, first one. By the way, first one.
What does that even mean? First one to come out for marriage was me. And what makes him think that it's okay to grab somebody by the arm, a young woman? Well, I guess it's the same guy that think that it's okay to sniff their hair and feel up a young girl's breast while her parents are right behind her. Yeah, probably the same guy. Anyway, let's go on. Not a fan of Joe Biden. No. Really, if he was the last person to, able to run America, well, he's not able to run America, but if he was the last person, I mean, he still wouldn't win. Really. Okay, let's go on. Oh yes, this is interesting. It's kind of like that woman that went, I can't remember, it was Somalia, I believe. She went to Somalia to prove that it wasn't a bad place, it wasn't a SHIT hole like other people had said, and she ended up, and it wasn't violent, and she ended up beheaded, I think, or killed or raped. She was dead anyway. And this is much the same thing, because this immigrant advocate was killed in a crash with Salvadorian who sought sanctuary in Colorado Springs Church. Yeah, this is happening more and more. There seems to be a lot of them committing crimes, killing people in car accidents, just murdering people, and they seem to be people that have been deported several times and still get back in. A father of 5 who staunchly supported immigrants died when his motorcycle reportedly was hit by a Salvadorian motorist who sought sanctuary from deportation 7 months ago in a Colorado Springs church. Sean Buchan's family grieved his death Thursday. It's the tragic irony of an August 2nd wreck that involved a member of the very community Buchan so ardently supported. Sean was an advocate for people who were trying to get into our country. He was a huge advocate, says Amy Savage, a close family friend, standing in the family's garage. He just was a man who loved and accepted everyone. Well, it's fine to love and accept everyone, and absolutely we should, but that doesn't mean that we should allow people in, just like we wouldn't allow people in who tried to enter our home illegally. Would you, somebody breaks into your house, and what would you do? Have them sit down and feed them dinner? If so, then there might be something a little off with you. Buchan, 45, was killed when a southbound vehicle went off the right side of Colorado 83, just north of the EP County line. I'm even afraid to say that word now. The Colorado State Patrol reported the vehicle then went left and into oncoming traffic, hitting Buchan's motorcycle, said Master Trooper Gary Cutler, an agency spokesman. So, yeah, that it's sad, and I do feel bad that that he was killed. But troopers say that the driver was Miguel Ramirez Valente. The undocumented immigrant had sought refuge at an All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church in January to to avoid deportation to El Salvador during the federal government shutdown. He was cited with careless driving, resulting in death, a traffic misdemeanor, said Vicky Migoya, a spokeswoman for the 18th Judicial District Attorney's Office. Investigators do not suspect that drugs, alcohol, or excess speed contributed to the crash, Cutler said. Ramirez stayed at the church for a couple of weeks until the shutdown ended because he couldn't fight the deportation order while federal immigration courts were shuttered, said the Reverend Nori Rost of All Souls. All the time, Ramirez pleaded for a reprieve from the deportation order lest he be separated from his family. He blamed the order on a mailing error. Rost called the crash a tragedy, and it's happened to an entire community, so we just need to come together and heal. She declined further comment. A GoFundMe account for the Buchanan family has raised more than $67,000 as of Thursday evening. Their goal was $200,000 because they said Ramirez was driving without insurance. Court records suggested Ramirez had yet to fulfill, I can't even read tonight, a sentence for drunken driving when the crash happened late last week. He was sentenced to a year of probation in August 2018 after pleading guilty to driving under the influence in late 2017. He also pleaded guilty to reckless endangerment in a child neglect case and was sentenced to a year of probation, court records show. A domestic violence case was dismissed by prosecutors in 2016. Ramirez, Denver-based attorney, did not return calls for comment. Thursday, Buchanan's family and friends lamented the circumstances of his death. Savage said Buchanan would hate it if his death was used to stoke anti-immigrant sentiment. Sean's life was marked by forgiveness and love, she said. Buchanan, 45, was a father of 5 children, aged 6 to 15. He and his wife Kathy adopted 2 of them from Burundi, a small country in Central Africa. Buchanan was born in Canada but came to Colorado Springs in 1991 after his father, who was in the Canadian military, was stationed at an Air Force base here. Buchanan graduated a year later from Cheyenne Mountain High School and married his wife Kathy about a decade later. Immigrants' rights issues were a passion of his, Savage said. For example, she said his family had asked people to support Casa de Paz, an organization in Aurora that provides housing, meals, and support to families whose relatives are in immigration detention facility, according to the group's website. Now, I'm not going to read through all this because it's just all, they fail to see the connection. And even in this guy's death, they're not wanting it to, they're not wanting to point out the obvious. This guy would still be alive if this immigrant had come legally. He was not here legally. Certainly if he had, I guess that doesn't even make sense. It's more of a case that he shouldn't have been in the country to begin with. All right. See, it's starting to get late and I'm starting to, my mind, it kind of dissolves into porridge at a certain point. Okay, now let's go back. Now this by Wyatt. Give credit where credit is due. When CNBC asked Visa CEO if his company, that is Sammy banging on the closet because he knows it makes a lot of noise and he thinks that it will draw my attention and that I'll go over and give him some attention. But what he doesn't understand is that I'm not going to when I'm recording. I wish that he would understand that. Anyway, when CNBC asked Visa CEO if his company will block purchases of firearms, no. Our job is to facilitate secure commerce and follow the laws of the land. Private companies should not be dictating what people can or cannot buy so long as it's legal. That is well spoken, not from Visa CEO, because, they're trying to ask him, look, is your company going to block purchase of firearms? And he says, no, if they're legal, it's not our business what people buy, good for him. Now, this from KK, what if gun reform was as follows? Every household is required to own 1 firearm, must know how to use and safely store a weapon for your protection. Nobody with mental illness can buy. Kennesaw, Georgia, and Switzerland have such laws, and crime rates are 50% lower. Well, not a bad idea, and I've heard that about Kennesaw, Georgia, where every household is required to have a firearm and know how to use it, and the rates of the surrounding counties are high. That county is much lower, so there is something to be said about that. All right. Now, let's look at this, shall we? A little more California madness. Yeah. All right. And LA without gas stations? Well, apparently, yeah. Oil derricks and refineries would disappear from the region. Gas stations would become irrelevant. Streetscapes would be dominated by electric vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians, as well as poop and rat and other things that they don't mention. That's the vision laid out in a sustainability plan that will be considered Tuesday by the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. If carried out, the list of 159 action items included in the plan could dramatically transform LA's landscape in the coming decades. County officials call the scheme to phase out fossil fuels the nation's most ambitious regional proposal. Well, I have other words for it, but I'll just keep them to myself. We recognize the climate crisis and the need to act, says Gary Jarrow, the county's chief sustainability officer. This is going to be a lot of hard work. Well, like the City of LA's sustainability initiative, referred to by local officials as the Green New Deal. The county's plan calls for complete carbon neutrality by 2050, meaning that carbon emissions would be reduced to zero or completely offset on a county-wide level. By many estimates, that may be too slow. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, global warming could reach 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels by 2030, with potentially devastating consequences. But the proposals from the city and county put Los Angeles in a position to honor the Paris Accord, which the U.S. abandoned in 2017. Okay, everybody now? Everybody, collective eye roll. Many elements of the plan could come together sooner. Jarrow says a proposal to power all of the county's unincorporated areas using renewable energy could be realized even sooner than the 2025 goal included in the document. So, that's like 5 years from now. There'll be no no carbon emissions. How are they going to do that? No, I was going to say it sounds good, but then no, it doesn't even sound good. Okay. Yeah, maybe they should perhaps concentrate on, I don't know, maybe the rats and all the homeless people. Yeah, leave the gas stations alone and concentrate on all the homeless people and all the diseases that are breeding in the streets. How about that? No, it's the gas stations. That's what's causing it all. Anyway, eliminating the county's carbon footprint, even over a 30-year period, will require major shifts in LA's planning process. No. Near-term solutions recommended in the plan included that's 5 years from now, 2025, right? Or am I smoking dope? I don't know. Anyway, that sounds wrong. 2025 just sounds like so far into the future, but it's actually not. Okay. Okay, look at this. Elimination of the county's carbon footprint, even over a 30-year period, will require major shifts in LA's planning process. Near-term solutions recommended in the plan include elimination of parking requirements for new housing and installation of bus-only lanes throughout the region. Both strategies could be a tough sell for drivers and those wary of residential density. The reduction or elimination of parking minimums was a sticking point in debate over Senate Bill 50, a transit-oriented development proposal that remains stalled in the state legislature. Meanwhile, multiple metro plans for a new dedicated bus lanes along major corridors like Colorado Boulevard have recently come under fire from some drivers and local officials. They're all crazy there, really. Garrow says the country's strategy for cutting carbon emissions relies on convincing more people to walk, bike, or take public transit when traveling by the region. By 2045, the sustainability plan calls for 50% increase in these types of trips and a reduction in the number of miles residents drive each day to less than half of current levels. We're going to have an open and honest dialogue about what the region needs, Jarrow says. Some people are going to be resistant, but this kind of change is never easy. Another likely challenge is the country's proposal to sunset petroleum operations, eventually ending oil drilling and refining in the region that once ranked among the world's most prolific oil production sites. California's oil boom is over, but the petroleum industry remains a major driver of the state's economy. Yes, let's just do away with everything that gives California money and just let everyone become homeless, and everyone can just poop in the streets. And the urine can run in rivers, golden rivers, and the rats can multiply and be merry. I'm telling you, these people are either all on crack or, I don't know, too much sunshine in the brain. I don't know. What do we blame it on other than stupidity? Yeah. California's okay, it's over. The oil boom is over, and yeah, they want to do away with all that, Sure, let's just do away with all money for the let's just live on sunshine and roses and goodwill for all. As in the city sustainability initiative, the plan includes no guarantees that the county will meet its goal. No. Really? One major obstacle is that the Board of Supervisors has limited jurisdiction over the 88 individual cities found in LA County. Yeah, that's a problem. That means plenty of coordination between city, county, and state agencies will be required to make any of this happen. Jarrow says county department heads will be required to provide frequent updates on progress, with the sustainability goals serving as barometers of success. Ultimately, though, it will be up to the residents to see these plans through. Ultimately, it's the stakeholders who will hold us responsible, he says. Now, let's just picture this, okay? They just want everybody to bike and ride the bus and, whatever. Now, or walk. Now, really, do you want to be biking through feces? I don't. I'm just saying. Okay, Jarrow says county department heads will be required. Okay, we already read that. Yeah, so ultimately it's the stakeholders who will hold us responsible, he says. And LA without gas stations? That's what they want. Imagine that. These people are terminally crazy. Really, like, every time I see something just completely insane, it comes out of California. What's up with that? I know there are reasonable people there. There have to be. Anyway, let's go on. Let's see what other crazy things there are, because there's lots. Well, I'm gonna skip on the scientists can regrow teeth for now. We can come back to that. And what is this? I can't remember. So let's go take a look. Well. Dear Libs, it was a black man, ex-NFL star Jack Brewer, who asked Trump to call out Elijah Cummings. Brewer did so after visiting Baltimore, coming away devastated by what he saw. Is he a racist too? Well, yeah, it's this guy that asked Trump to call out Elijah Cummings. This guy right here. Is he a racist? Former NFL player Jack Brewer on Trump-Cummings feud. I asked Trump to call him out. Oh, bet nobody called him a racist. Just saying. All right, let's go on. Had to point that out, you know. All right, and this is interesting. Who's ready for 17 new storms? I am. No, I'm not. Well, actually, I am, because it won't affect me here. But still, I do feel bad for the people that are affected. U.S. Northern Command, are you ready? NOAA expects up to 17 named storms before the hurricane season ends, with as many as 4 becoming major storms. Ensure your family and businesses are ready for disasters. Visit ready.gov. This is interesting. Now, could be nothing, but 17, you know, storms. You know, Q, 17th letter? I don't know. I mean, why not 16 storms? Why not 18? Why 17? Could it be a tip of the hat to Q? Could be. Might not be, but could be. Thought it was interesting. Pulled it out for you to see, because I'm like that. All right, let's look at this now. No, really, let's. Okay, I am the niece of, not me personally, but her. I am the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Listen to my words. President Trump is not a racist. He is one of the best presidents America has ever seen. I fully support him. Now, let's just listen to what she has to say.
It's not a racist. I've had the experience of going head-to-head with genuine racists back in the 20th century. I was a youth organizer. At the time, my uncle, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, was killed. My dad, A.D. King, killed the next year. And a racist is a person who really does believe that their race, their category of humanity is superior or different. And Beto, Biden, and all of them are saying, why doesn't he renounce or denounce white supremacy, which he's done several times, and not even being honest, saying he hasn't. One thing that really is getting to me, and I'd like for you to look into this, the race baiters who want to stir up fear and hate and make us think that we're different when we're one blood and one human race. President Trump says we all bleed the same. He's very clear on that, and he has done so much for all Americans, including African Americans. But they like the name George Wallace. Governor Wallace really was a racist, but at the end of his life, he recanted, he repented, he had great remorse. So no one ever says that he changed his mind. He had a change of heart and began to receive all humans as brothers and sisters. So they want to use George Wallace, which I was there when Governor Wallace was doing all of that, by the way. I was in a home that was bombed. So my uncle was shot, my daddy was choked and killed, my grandmother was shot. I was in a home that was bombed, we were bombed. I went through all of that. But President Trump is not a racist. He's
So how do you like that? And that from the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Well, she doesn't think Trump's a racist. I find that interesting. Not surprising, because he's not racist, and he never was. And he's never said anything even remotely close to being racist. But that doesn't stop the mainstream media, because they just make up the news. All right, let's go back now, because we can. And let's look at this, because this is a little bit of good news. Okay, it's a lot of good news. Exclusive, Trump set to devastate big tech tyrants with powerful executive order. Now, this is from InfoWars. I don't always trust everything that comes from InfoWars, but they have done very good work in the past. I don't totally trust Alex Jones, but again, I don't want to totally discount him either, because he's broken some very, very large stories in the past. So let's see. It says Alex Jones has been working closely with key Trump advisors and can exclusively reveal what is being discussed in final drafts. So I don't know too much, and I'm not going to go out and play Alex Jones, but this is from August 8th. Again, I'm a little bit behind with the news, and I do want to look more into this and get it from other sources other than InfoWars. Not that, you know, InfoWars has some really, really good stuff, and I'm not trying to downgrade them in any way. It's just that I'm just, you know, I'm cautious there. All right, now let's go back and yeah, let's take a look at this. I'm starting to wind down a little bit, so I do want to, you know, get as much in as I can before I wind this up. I wrap it up, rather. Yeah. Democrats are fundraising off of EP and the DAYTON fruitings. Yes, they are. Of course they are. Democrats are blaming President Trump's rhetoric for influencing the EP fruiter and the anti-immigrant manifesto he penned before Saturday's fruiting. But they seem to have no issue trying to fundraise off the tragedy as well as Sunday morning's mass fruiting in DAYTON. Senator Elizabeth Warren said she's heartbroken about the fruitings, which left 31 people dead, and asked for money for Doug Jones and Tina Smith in their respective Senate campaigns, because that's what we all think about. When we hear of a mass fruiting, we automatically think about politics. Well, I know what I think as soon as I hear about it, but we won't get into that. Yesterday, we woke up to the second mass fruiting in just as many days. I'm heartbroken for EP and DAYTON and to all the families who have just endured unimaginable loss. We need common sense BUN reform now before the next mass fruiting to stop the daily BUN violence on our streets and to make sure that our families and loved ones are safe. But Mitch McConnell and Republicans in the Senate are blocking legislation that could help address this epidemic. Oh yes, it's always the Republicans' fault. Always, always, always. During the last election, we flipped the House, and in February, the Democratic-led House passed bipartisan legislation that would make a meaningful impact on this crisis. But 5 months after passing the House and more than 6.5 years after, the hook, that bill is still sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk. It's inexcusable. Well, I could tell you some things, Senator Warren, that are inexcusable. I could give you a list of things that are inexcusable. That wouldn't be one of them. All right, it's clear Republicans don't have the courage. Oh, yes, it's all about the courage. Yeah, it's not about our Constitution. It's the courage. They just don't have the courage to do it. Yeah, they don't have the courage to do something about the crisis. We can't wait for them to act because they won't. If we're going to address the BUN violence epidemic in our country, we need to take back the Senate in 2020 so that we can stomp all over the Constitution and do what we want because we don't care about you. Well, she might as well have said that because that's what she meant. I'll fight my heart out. Oh, she'll fight her heart out. Yeah. I don't think she has one. To make sure Democrats win up and down the ballot in 2020, but if we're going to beat Republicans and the BUN lobby, it's going to take a grassroots movement. We need a grassroots movement so we can stomp all over the Constitution and put all you people in your place. Take your BUNS, we're going to take your BUNS, we're going to take your free speech, we're going to take everything, and then we're going to tax you. That's right. Lots and lots and lots of taxes. And then we're going to take everything that's yours and we're going to give it to people that don't work. That's what we're going to do. Yeah. Why anybody would vote Democrat is beyond me. Senator Kamala Harris asked supporters to split contributions between former Representative Gabby Giffords, PAC, the Brady campaign to prevent bun violence, and Mums demand action for bun sense. Bun sense. I don't know, that just struck me funny. Bun sense. We all need bun sense. For bun sense in America, Giffords was injured in a mass fruiting in Tucson in 2011. Yep. Democrats are all about two things: taking our free speech and taking our buns. I think somebody already took my buns because, I don't know, but as I got older, it's like the back porch done dropped off my house. I wish somebody would give me back my buns, but alas, I digress. Okay, and the DNC itself sent out a fundraising email signed by Giffords with an urgent message that they can't afford to wait another day to pass bun control measures. We can't afford to wait another day for another massacre to happen in our country, for lawmakers to address this. Yet the defenders of this status quo, the bun manufacturing lobby, and every single politician who is paid to defend it will tell you that horrific acts of violence like these are beyond our control. I am telling you today that this could not be further from the truth. Every day we fail to take action, we choose this fate. Every day, politicians fail to acknowledge and act on this crisis. They allow our bun violence crisis to take more lives. And if Congress, specifically Mitch McConnell, that nasty Mitch McConnell, they're not liking him very much, and Republicans in the United States Senate fail to take action, then we must act to replace them, because until we act, fruitings like these threaten to take even more lives and tear apart even more communities. Yeah, like they care. Really, like they care. I'm asking you to have the courage to act today for every man, woman, and child whose life has been cut short by epidemic of bun violence in our country. Split a $10 donation between my organization. Not a chance. Really. Dedicated to ending bun violence, Giffords PAC and the Democratic National Committee today. Together, we have the power to prevent bun violence and save lives. Most Americans, if these people were just burst into flames, I don't even think they would spit on them to put the fire out. Really. Now, I don't want anybody harmed. I don't. And I'm not advocating any violence in any way, shape, or form. But these people are transparent, and they don't even see it. They're too stupid to see how transparent they are. I don't get it. Like, really? Are we all that dumbed down? I know we're not. I know that I have some very, very, very smart listeners, smarter than me. And, I think that you guys can obviously see what's happening, or you wouldn't be listening to me. But for most of America, maybe not most, because I think most do see, most can see, but the media downplays it to make it seem like we're in the minority, and we know we're not. I mean, all you have to do is look at how many people are, teaming around a Trump rally. It wouldn't matter how big a venue he went to and he secured. It would be sold out, and there'd be people outside waiting to get in. Have you ever seen any politician ever draw crowds like him? So I shouldn't say that most of America, because I think most of America do see through them. Anyway, I just get a little bit discouraged at times. Anyway, and I agree with this, these fundraising emails are in poor taste, but the media is more focused on how Trump accidentally said Toledo instead of Dayton in his White House remarks this morning, ignoring his bun violence prevention proposals and his clear condemnation of white supremacy. Yeah. So, this was August 5th, and I know it's a little bit, I should have brought this days and days ago, but the news cycle has been pretty active, and it's still, I think, pretty pertinent for today. All right, now let's go. That I'm going to leave. Now, I think we are all aware of this, but the FBI declared QAnon a domestic terrorism threat, and conspiracy theorists are psyched. An internal FBI memo classified QAnon and other conspiracy theories as a threat, and the move could make them stronger. Now, this is from the Rolling Stone, so, you know, we have to realize that this is not even just slightly biased, but hugely biased. QAnon believers, QAnon believers have had a rough summer. Trump's July 4th rally, when many believed the late John F. Kennedy Jr. would emerge from hiding to claim his rightful role as Trump's running mate, came and went. So did July 31st, the projected date of declass, or the moment when the community believed that the declassified documents pointing to deep state corruption would finally be dropped. Now, in what is perhaps the ultimate example of kicking someone while they're down, Yahoo News has published a 15-page internal memo from the FBI declaring conspiracy theories a domestic terrorism threat. Yeah. Distributed on May 30th, the memo from the Bureau's Phoenix office notes that it is the first report of its kind to take aim at conspiracy-driven domestic terrorism, citing a number of violent incidents the Bureau believes were linked to conspiracy theories. The FBI assesses these conspiracy theories very likely will emerge, spread, and evolve in the modern information marketplace, occasionally driving both groups and individual extremists to carry out criminal or violent acts, the document says. Although the memo lists a number of such theories, including PIZZA Gate, and the conspiracy surrounding the hook, I'm not saying that, fruiting, it pays particular notice to QAnon, the wide-ranging and extremely non-evidence-based theory. Yeah, obviously this is biased, and obviously they have not been following it very close if they think it's not evidence-based. Lots and lots of proof there. Lots and lots. So, theory suggesting that Hillary Clinton and other high-ranking Democratic officials are engaged in sex trafficking ring, and that President Trump will one day arrest them and send them to Guantanamo Bay. QAnon followers also believe that the Mueller report was a smokescreen for Mueller and Trump's secret investigation into the Democratic officials and other global elites. That's not true. That's never been said. While originating from the smaller corners of the internet, such anonymous message boards and sites like 4chan, the theory has since gained traction in the mainstream thanks to proponents like Roseanne Barr publicly endorsing it, as well as President Trump himself retweeting a QAnon-related account earlier this week. The account was subsequently suspended by Twitter. I think that is, what's his name? He's a comedian, and he was in a... I'm sorry, I was laughing at my cat because she just jumped back like she saw a snake. Anyway, what's his name? Terrence, is it? Anyways, he's very funny. And I think it was him I know it was him that Trump retweeted, but I should see if he has been suspended, because that would not be good. Anyway, because he's very funny, and he puts out a lot of truth. He just says it like it is. He was on his way to the White House. Actually, he had been invited to the White House, and his car was involved in a car accident that broke his neck. He is recovering anyway. Now, the FBI memo cites at least 2 violent incidents or attempts purportedly linked to QAnon. An Arizona man harassed and doxed locals he suspected of participating in a child sex trafficking ring at the heart of the conspiracy theory, and a Nevada man at the Hoover Dam whose truck was found to contain rifles and other ammunition. That was a setup, clear and plain and simple. And this frustrates me. It really, really frustrates me, and it's got to frustrate you guys too, because the way the mainstream media portrays this is so far removed from the truth of what the movement actually is. And of course, they cite it as a conspiracy theory, and that, you know, it's not evidence-based. It's all evidence-based. Do you really think people would be hanging on to this long if there was not continual proof that it is in fact true? And if it wasn't, if this was just some weird, bizarre conspiracy theory, then why has it lasted this long, and why is the mainstream media attacking it so much? You know, most people, like the people that say Elvis is alive. Now, you know, don't argue and all that with one another and say, no, he's alive, no, he's dead. That's not the point. The point is, there is a conspiracy theory that he never died. And there's lots of evidence to support that. I don't know. But, you know, you never hear the mainstream media talking about that. You never hear them, spending time trying to disprove that. Why? Because they don't care. And so why do they care so much about this? Why are they expending so much energy trying to prove that it's a conspiracy? You know, methinks the lady doth protest too much, right? You know, if you are constantly protesting something, there's probably a reason. That's why Q said, and Trump, well, maybe not Trump, Q has said that, you know, pay attention to those that yell the loudest, because there's a reason. All right. I'm not going to read the rest of this because it's making me angry, man. And it's probably making you angry too. And the thing is, we know the games they play, so I don't really care what they think, to tell you the truth. But I do know, and we were told this, that this would be their ploy, is that, oh yes, it's violent. That's part of the reason they post this stuff on 4chan and 8chan, because it, you know, they're setting Q up constantly. Anyway, let's see what else. I can't remember what this is, so let me go and take a look here. Oh, yes. This is important as well. So let's take a listen to this. This is what he says, Joe Biden. I'm telling you, poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. What? So what's he saying, that poor kids are black? Because he's saying poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. So I guess it's the black kids that are poor. Yeah, but Trump is the racist. Right. Let's listen to Biden.
And the other thing we should do is we should challenge these students. We should challenge students in these schools to have advanced placement programs in these schools. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. No, I really mean it, but think how we think about it. And the other thing we should do is we should challenge these students. We should...
Yeah, it's just going back over it. But, you know, notice how he tried to catch himself afterwards? But that was a Freudian slip, my friends, a Freudian slip. I don't know if Freud wore a slip, but anyway, maybe he did. So, wouldn't surprise me, he was a little bit kinky. And I should know, because I've got a degree in psychology. The guy was a little... Anyway, all right, so, yeah. And this guy wants to be president, and he's calling Trump a racist. Right. Trump doesn't grab first of all, Trump doesn't grab a young woman and pull her. And the other thing is, Trump isn't constantly smelling women's hair and sniffing them and molesting them in public. Children. All right. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for tonight. I'm not going to get into this Mexican gang. Oh, yes, I am. I'm going to hit on this just because I can. All right. I'm not going to read all this. I just want to let you know. 19 bodies hung from bridge or hacked up in Mexico gang feud. But here's the thing that I find hard to believe. Mexico wants to sue EP the mass fruiting in EP because some of their citizens died. First of all, yeah, look at how violent Mexico is. You know, it's not like the U.S. has any. They're saying that the U.S. failed to keep their citizens safe, but how many people die or just get caught up in gang violence in Mexico and die? Americans. I don't know. There must be something really weird going on with the moon because both cats are absolutely bizarre tonight, like out there doing the strangest, oddest things. All right, but alas, that's my problem and not yours. So I'm going to leave the regrowing teeth, and I think I'm going to leave it there for now. I do have other stuff, but that's a full day's reporting for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back tomorrow. I am. You can't stop me. And I will be reporting tomorrow as well, and we're going to try and get caught up with some of the recent news and everything that's going on with, Epic Find and just all sorts of things. It just seems to all be hitting the fan at once. So we'll get up to speed tomorrow. And thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys. You really are like awesome listeners because you encourage one another. You encourage me. And I love the comments. You're funny. I regularly am entertained by the comments beneath my videos. So anyway, thank you guys so much. You have a great night. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and you got it. You keep seeking truth because deception bites. Good night.